All right, let's get into it. Have you ever wondered how you can take a simple idea, just a few words, and turn it into something that looks like it came straight out of a movie? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today with Sora 2. We're going to break down the art of cinematic prompting from your very first idea all the way to directing like a pro. So this quote right here, this is the key to everything. I mean, that really nails it, right? You're not just barking orders at a machine, you're having a conversation. You're trying to paint a picture for an AI that's incredibly talented, but has zero context about what's in your head. The clearer you are, the better it gets. If you're vague, well, it's going to get creative, which can be cool, but it might not be the story you wanted to tell.
Okay, so this leads to the very first big decision you've got to make every single time you write a prompt. It's basically a trade-off. Do you want creative freedom, or do you want precise control? If you give it a really simple, light prompt, you're essentially telling Sora, hey, surprise me. And honestly, it can come up with some mind-blowing stuff. But if you have a very specific vision in your head, then you need to go the other route. Super detailed, super precise. There's no right or wrong answer here, it just totally depends on what you're trying to achieve.
All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Before we can even start thinking about the cool stuff, the story, the action, we have to set the stage. I like to think of this as setting up your technical canvas. It's like a painter choosing the size of their canvas or a director choosing their camera and film format before a single frame is shot.
So here are the foundational specs for your video. You've got the model quality. Are you going standard or pro? The size, which is your resolution, and the duration in seconds. Now this is super important, so listen up. You cannot ask for these things in your text prompt. You can't just type, make a 12-second video at 1080p. It doesn't work that way. You have to set these parameters explicitly in the API settings before you even send the prompt. It's a hard rule.
And here's a little pro tip for you, straight from the experts. You might be tempted to just generate a long 8 or 12-second clip all at once. But what they've found is that the model is way more reliable and follows your instructions much more closely in shorter clips. So if you need an 8-second shot, try generating 2 separate 4-second clips. Yeah, it's a little extra work to stitch them together later, but you'll probably get a much better, more controlled result. Trust me on this one.
Okay, technical stuff is sorted. Our canvas is set now for the fun part. It's time to actually direct the shot. Let's break down the anatomy of a great prompt, the building blocks that are going to take your ideas from text to screen. Now, if you take away only one thing from this whole guide, let it be this. Style is the most powerful tool you have. It's the very first thing you should define. Before you even think about the subject or the action, tell Sora the vibe. Are we talking gritty 1970s film or maybe 16mm black and white documentary? Setting the style first is like giving the AI a pair of glasses. It colors everything else it sees and helps it understand the rest of your prompt in the right context.
Let's look at a real-world example of why being specific is everything. You could say, a beautiful street at night. Okay, but what does beautiful mean to an AI? It's totally subjective. Now look at the strong example. Wet asphalt, zebra crosswalk, neon signs reflecting in puddles. See the difference? We're not using adjectives, we're using concrete nouns. We're giving the AI tangible things to draw. You're not telling it how to feel, you're showing it what to create.
And this exact same idea applies to the camera work. You see the term cinematic look thrown around all the time, but what does it even mean? It could be anything. Instead, get specific. Use real camera terms. Something like an anamorphic 2.0 lens gives you those wide movie-like shots. Shallow DOF, that's depth of field, blurs the background and makes your subject pop. Volumetric light gives you those beautiful beams of light cutting through the air. These aren't just fancy words, they are levers of control. And look, you don't need a film degree to do this, really. Sora understands basic filmmaking language perfectly. You can just say things like wide establishing shot, eye level to set the scene, or medium close-up shot to focus on a character. Even something like handheld ENG camera will give you that shaky, on-the-ground news report feel. These simple phrases are super powerful for telling the AI exactly where to put the camera.
Getting motion and timing right can be one of the trickiest parts, so here's a great technique. Break the action down into beats. Instead of saying, actor walks across the room, which is super vague, direct it like you're on a set. Actor takes 4 steps to the window, pauses, and pulls the curtain in the final second. You're giving it a sequence, a rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4, pause, action. This makes the movement so much more precise.
Okay, let's talk about lighting, because lighting is everything when it comes to mood. Saying a brightly lit room tells the AI almost nothing. But what if you describe the sources of the light? Soft window light with a warm lamp fill and a cool rim light from the hallway. Now you're not just describing brightness, you're describing shape, color, and direction. You're creating an atmosphere, a feeling. You're telling a story with light.
Okay, you've got the fundamentals down. Now it's time to level up. If you're someone who needs absolute, total, granular control over every single pixel, we're going to show you how to start talking like a professional cinematographer. This is the deep dive.
Let's deconstruct one of these ultra-detailed prompts. Look at the format and look. We're not just saying film look, we're saying we want to emulate 65mm photochemical contrast. That's that rich, deep look from classic epic movies. We're asking for subtle halation, which is that beautiful soft glow you get around bright lights. Then we get into lenses, specific filters like a black pro mist to soften the image, and even the exact color palette. Clean morning sunlight with an amber lift. This is how you dial in a very, very specific aesthetic.
And it doesn't stop there. We keep building the world, piece by piece. We specify the exact lighting, natural sunlight from camera left. We add atmosphere, gentle mist, train exhaust. We're literally layering the shot, defining what's in the foreground, midground, and background to create depth. And look at this, we're even the costume designer, specifying a navy coat for our main character and muted tones for everyone else. Every detail matters.
And to finish it off, we're even directing the sound design. The term diegetic only is key. It means we only want to hear sounds that are actually happening in the scene, like the screech of the rails or the hiss of the bricks. No soundtrack. And get this, we're creating a shot list inside the prompt, timing out each action to the 100th of a second. We're even adding notes for the cameraman, explaining why we want the eyeline low. This isn't just a prompt anymore, it's a full-on director's treatment.
But what about when your characters need to talk? A lot of scenes aren't silent films, right? So how do you handle dialogue and sound? Well, the answer, as you might guess, comes down to structure.
Here's the best way to do it. First, describe your entire scene, the location, the lighting, the action, everything. Then, create a completely separate section and label it clearly dialogue. By creating this clean separation, you're making it super easy for the AI to understand, okay, this part is what I see, and this part is what I hear. It helps it sync up the words with the right character and the right expression.
Look, let's be real. You're probably not going to nail the perfect shot on your very first try. And that's totally okay. Because the real magic, a lot of the time, is in the refinement. It's in the iteration, and that's where the remix feature is an absolute game changer.
So check this out. Let's say you run a prompt and you get this little guy. The animation is awesome, the scene is perfect, but you wanted an orange monster and he came out purple. The shot is like 95% of the way there.
So what do? You don't have to go back and rewrite that whole complex prompt from scratch. No way. You just use the remix feature and give it a super simple, direct instruction. Change the color of the monster to orange. That's it. Be direct, be specific, and tell it the one thing you want to change.
And voila! Here's the result. The AI is smart enough to understand that it should keep everything else the same, the background, the movement, the lighting, and just make that one specific change you ask for. This little loop, generate, see what you get, and then remix, this is where you can really polish your ideas to perfection.
So let's just recap the whole workflow. It really boils down to 3 simple steps. Step 1, set your stage. Get those technical API settings right. Step 2, direct your shot. Write that awesome prompt, whether it's simple or super detailed. And step 3, remix to perfection. Iterate, tweak, and polish until you've got exactly what you want.
So there you have it. We've gone from the very basics to some seriously advanced pro-level techniques. You've got the tools, you understand the language, and you've got a workflow to follow. So really, there's only one thing left to ask. Now that you're the director, what story are you going to tell?